Hey guys, this is Goku, and on this channel we talk about poker and ideas that can improve your life. So if you're interested in that, please go ahead and click the subscribe button because I'll be honored to have you here. In this video, we're going to talk about 4 common player types in poker. We're going to talk about how to recognize them and then most importantly, how to play against them. So let's get right into it. So how do we distinguish player types? Well, we look at 2 factors: how many hands they play and how they play them. So when a player plays a lot of hands, we will tag him as a loose player. And on the other hand, if he only plays a few hands, we will say that he is a tight player. The second factor we analyze is how he plays those hands, whether he plays them aggressively or passively. Playing aggressively means betting and raising most of the time, and seldom just calling or checking, whilst playing passively means to check and call most of the time and rarely bet and raise. So when we combine these 2 factors, we can distinguish 4 player types, which are loose aggressive, tight aggressive, loose passive, and tight passive. Let's first consider the tight aggressive player type, as this is the type you will become if you follow this course. Tight aggressive, which is also known as a tag, is a player who carefully chooses the cards which he enters the pot with, and when he plays the hand, he almost always plays it aggressively. In the long run, he makes the biggest profit and his swings are the lowest of all the player types. How to play against a tight aggressive player? First of all, you always want to have a position over him. Pre-flop, when he opens the pot from middle or late positions, you never want to just call his raise. You always want to 3-bet him, which means to re-raise him. He will fold a lot of his range to a 3-bet, and when he calls or raises, you'll be able to put him on a very accurate range of hands, as he will only do that with the top of his range. On the flop, most of the time he will put a continuation bet if he was the pre-flop aggressor, so a good way to counter that is to often raise him on the flop. You only want to play strong hands against a tag, but if the price is right, it is often profitable to try and hit the flop with small pocket pairs or suited connectors. Suited connectors are 2 cards of the same suit in sequential order, for example 4-5 of hearts or 7-8 or spades. You are looking to hit a set or a straight or a flush so that you can take all his money when he hits his top pair or has an overpair. Next, let's talk about loose aggressive players, which are also known as lags. Well, this is a player who will play a lot of hands and he will bet and raise a lot. This is a player that is the toughest to play against. Since his range is really wide, you should play tight against him. Top pair will often be enough to win the pot, but you should play passively against this type of player. He loves aggression and a lot of the time he just doesn't hit anything, so you want him to keep on trying to push you off the hand. Also, you want to play passive to keep the pot small, unless your hand is really strong. But if you're only holding the top pair and you let the pot get big, you will be facing a very hard decision on the river when he shoves all in. Lags are also the players who you don't want to often bluff, as it will be almost impossible to get them to fold with just 1 bet, and they will fight hard for every pot. Next, we have a tight passive player, which is really easy to play against. He doesn't play many hands, and when he plays them, he almost always plays them passively. So you want to play a pretty wide range of hands against him, and you want to play them aggressively. He will almost always fold to a bet if he doesn't have a decent hand, so you want to bet a lot. You want to play the wide range of hands because you are looking to hit a good hand on the flop and make him pay you off. Beware when they raise you, it's often a sign of a very strong hand. On the other hand, if you hit a big hand, you want to bet big on every street and never slow play. Lastly, we have a loose passive player, which is also very easy to play against. He plays almost any 2 cards and almost always checks or just calls. You should never bluff this player because he might call all your bets with just a high card or a 3rd pair. Basically what you want to do is have a solid hand against them and bet big on every street to allow them to pay you off. These players are called calling stations for a reason. Also, you want to be careful when they raise you, as most of the time it'll mean that they hit their hand. You could also take advantage of their passiveness, and when you hit a weak hand like a second pair, you could bet small to get some value for it, as they will often call small bets with weaker hands like overcards and draws. Okay, great, let's sum up what you've learned. You know there are 4 specific player types. You know how to recognize which type a specific player is. You do this by paying attention to how many hands a player plays, or how loose or tight they are, and how they play their hands, or how passive or aggressive they are. This allows you to make a mental note whether a player is tight aggressive, loose aggressive, tight passive, or loose passive. It is a simple classification, but it allows you to optimize your play against your opponents. Hey, thanks for watching this video. If you have any questions or comments, please go ahead and post them below, and I'll be sure to answer them as best as I can. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to watch more videos like this in the future. This video is part of a complete poker course dedicated to beginner and casual players that teaches the fundamentals, the most basic principles and strategies of No Limit Texas Hold'em. If you want to become a winning poker player, check it out at Udemy and Skillshare. The links are in the description of this video.